morning, everybody. It's 8:03. We're going to call to order our Prison Board of Inspectors meeting for Thursday. As we always do, we will welcome at this time opportunities for public comment for items that we do not have on our agenda. We'll give folks 5 minutes, and we'll.
Thank you, Commissioner Pike.
Good morning.
My name is Mark Kissling, and I've been a resident of Center County since 2010. Speak to you today about how incarcerated citizens at this facility are not currently permitted to recreate outside. I imagine if I or my child or my parent or my neighbor or any human being were not able to go outside for 30, 90, 200, 400 days, and I'm overcome by sadness and anger at that thought. I believe a community is only as healthy and successful as its most marginalized inhabitants. Regardless of why individuals are incarcerated, they are among the community's most marginalized, and they are citizens just like all of us here. Corrections is foremost about positive individual and communal betterment. While it may exhibit punishment in the form of an individual's loss of freedom for a period of time, its fundamental purpose is educative, not punitive. Healthy humans need adequate outdoor exposure. They need the sunlight, breeze, fresh air. They also need the colors, the smells, the sounds of the natural world. Depriving incarcerated individuals of outdoor time is inhumane and fundamentally punitive. It is not an avenue of education. Pennsylvania, weather permitting, either 2 hours daily physical exercise in the open or 1 hour of outdoor activity 5 days a week, mandated for all those incarcerated in jails, Title 37, Section 95 of the Pennsylvania Code. And as you know, these are minimum requirements. At April's meeting of this board, I asked about outdoor recreation at the facility, and Warden Shell responded in part, quote, "We are not moving forward on that. Our facility is not built for outside rec. We meet all standards. We have our garage doors that open up that bring in fresh air." In May, Warden Shell and Deputy Warden Irwin kindly took me and a small group of interested others on a tour of the jail. Among other places in the facility, we visited recreation yards at A Block and B Block, where we saw and felt the garage doors both opened and closed. Standing in those recreation areas, I puzzled at how an indoor room with an open garage door high above the floor qualifies as in the open or outdoor activity. The moment of the tour that gave me the greatest hope was when I learned that incarcerated citizens in C Block used to go outside for outdoor recreation. The warden and deputy warden spoke of how outdoor recreation existed and then how negative community response led to the discontinuation of their practice. I understand that there has been prior consideration of the outdoor rec issue at the jail. However, it is not clear what exactly was discussed, to what extent, and how seriously. I urge this board to revisit the issue and scrutinize all possibilities for outdoor recreation, not just the grandest possibility of carrying out a major renovation of the jail. I urge you to think about the terms in the open and outdoor activity that are in the Pennsylvania Code and whether this facility's current practices meet those minimum standards in your assessment. While concerns about costs, staffing, and security are certainly legitimate, please interrogate and ultimately act to end the inhumanity of the jail's current recreation practices. Thank you.
Mark, thank you very much. Is there any other public comment at this time?
Hi, my name is Carrie Weisman. I have lived in Center County since 1982, and I found it to be a nurturing and I'm a Quaker and a member of State College Friends Meeting. I just retired from being a school counselor for the State College Area School District, and I'm still a trainer for restorative practices, which is intended to help people understand themselves in relation to their community and restore relationships that have been harmed. As such, restorative practices work is very relevant to people who are incarcerated. By virtue of that, people in need of healing and in need of help to restore their relationships. To restore my spirit, I seek to be in nature. And I am not alone, as I know many people who find being outside and in nature. Whether it is the deep breaths we take, the admiration of birds, trees, grasses, and flowers, or the expansive feeling of the world around us, it is inherently healing and inspires a peaceful feeling that we cannot emulate with other processes such as mindfulness, yoga, or physical exercise, though these are also important. Pennsylvania law requires outside recreation for the incarcerated and makes exceptions for urban settings in which it simply not be possible. Classifying our current prison as urban is preposterous to me and allows us to follow the letter of the law, but totally obfuscates the intent of the law. To say our prison is urban is an outright deception and misrepresentation of our prison to ourselves. I understand that even when our prison was in the heart of Belmont, our prisoners had access to outdoor recreation. Although our warden Shell stated that they have no intention of providing true outdoor recreation in such a state, it seems odd to me that we would have built a brand new prison without complying with the intent of the law to provide outdoor recreation. While the prison may not have been built for outdoor recreation, I find it hard to believe that outdoor recreation could not be provided given the fencing and grassy area around the facility. Throwing frisbees or footballs on a grassy field would fulfill the intent of the law and allow incarcerated citizens to actually run around outside. This is done before meals such as lunch. The overall impact would be very calming to the inmate bodies and could provide a more healing environment for prisoners' mental health as well. I am aware, of course, as I speak, that all the laws that impact what prisons may or may not do, I'm unaware of. Nonetheless, it is imperative that we in Center County provide the best services possible to our incarcerated citizens so that they may truly return to our community more ready to face each day than they were when they entered prison. We all know the recidivism rate among prisoners is extremely high, but there are places where that is not true. If we provide truly restorative services to the incarcerated, their chances for recidivism goes down dramatically, and we could be proud of our prison system. Just following the minimum of what the law requires is not our goal. We need to engage in truly restorative services. Our outdoor recreation is just a part of that, but it is a critical part of helping return citizens to succeed. There's nothing preventing our commissioners and board from doing better. Please do a comprehensive assessment of what it would take for the prison to comply with the intent of the Pennsylvania law, provide a more holistic experience of outdoor recreation for prisoners incarcerated in our county facility, and give a report to this board so that we can more fully understand what obstacles there may be for true outdoor recreation to occur. If there is something that we, as concerned Center County citizens, could do to make this happen, we would be delighted to help in whatever way we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Any other public comment?
Well, my name is Ken Klein-Smelser. I've lived in Boalsburg since 2002. I've been part of this group that's studying this situation, and I've come to the following conclusions that we believe that outdoor recreation means actually outside of buildings. Beneficial effects of just being and exercising outdoors are immense. We understand that the average length of stay here is relatively short, maybe 60 to. However, many are here longer, and the average is reduced by people awaiting trial. I think it to be cruel and unusual punishment that returning citizens cannot get outside on a daily basis for months, perhaps a year, up to 2. We understand that there is currently a shortage of personnel to supervise outdoor time and funds to pay for such employees. We also understand that this facility was not constructed with outdoor rec in mind. However, there is a sufficient fenced-in outdoor space that people could at least get outside and walk around. We know that security is important, but we do not believe that this is a maximum security. And restrictions could be placed on particular individuals. Not everybody would have to go outside, but they might be necessary. But we believe that the vast majority do not pose a significant. We believe that what is standing in the way of outdoor recreation? Lack of will. Board and employees have decided that the current situation is adequate, and have not worked at providing additional. We are here to let you know that we do not think the current situation is adequate or morally defensible. We believe that our community would demand better if they were aware of what is happening. Before we attempt to generate and organize wider moral and political pressure to improve the outdoor recreation offerings, we thought we should give you all the opportunity to come up with a plan yourselves. So we're asking you to appoint a task force or whatever to work on a way for every returning citizen to have the opportunity to be outside for at least an hour a day. We think the health and behavior of everyone will be improved, staff, returning citizens, and so that this facility and outdoor rec park could be something we're all proud of. Prepared to work with you in helpful, generating interest and support for such an effort.
Any other public comment? Items not on the agenda. Just to make sure nobody on Zoom, online is interested in public comment as well. Very good. Thank you all for your comments. We appreciate that. Dialogue. We have other business to address today. Thank you for your interest. Really, more than ever, hear the connection you have. We're going to look at the motion to approve the minutes from our June meeting held recently.
So moved.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Warden Shell, we'll turn it over to you for your moment.
Good morning, everyone. Starting off with our service report, returning citizen service report with our Center County Mental Health, Amy Miller. A year ago, she's seen 21. This past June, she's seen 17. She referred and counseling from Crossroads Mental Health Group is 9. Crossroads Drug and Alcohol, they're in person now. They are actually coming into our facility days a week. We're actually working on a third day just because of the amount of people we need them to see. Drug and alcohol is 11 male returning citizens. They met 5 times per month. 3 female returning citizens, 5 times per month. Mental health group is 7 male returning citizens, 5 times per month, and 2 females returning citizens 5 times per month. The Center County Compass program, male group was 17 returning citizens with 3 peer support. They met 4 times per week for 4 weeks. Female group was 14, 3 peer supports. They met 4 times per week for 4 weeks. The graduation of Compass in June was 8, 3 females, 5 males. Center County Decision Point program, male group was 5 returning citizens. They met 1 time per week, 4 weeks. Females are 4, 1 time per week for 4. We didn't have any graduations in June. Work release and community reentry. This is the monthly totals that was available to go out to these areas. Centerpiece was 6. County maintenance requested 0. Grounds was 1. Work release was 6. A year ago, we had 1 on work release. Our prison monthly reports on population. Our Center County population snapshot of June 30th, 2022. Total count that day was 160. Out of the 160 from Center County was 109. 26 females, 83 males. Out of the 109, unsentenced was 65, 12 females, 53 males. County sentence is 39, 13 females and 26 males. And state sentence were 5, 1 female, 4 males. Out of the 160 tentative county population was 73, 24 females, 49 males. Out of the 43 was unsentenced was 36. 15 females, 21 males. County sentence was 32, 7 males and 25 males. State sentence was 5, 2 females and 3 males.
Looks like potentially any county.
It should be the same as the top. It just wasn't top. At the snapshot Wednesday you're saying about the snapshot date?
Yeah, the only reason I say that is
Yeah.
total of 160, 109, and 73. Maybe the 160 is. But if we currently have 73 tenant inmates,
Actually, it's probably 63.
okay, 63.
I apologize on that.
Not a worry. Okay, thanks, Chris.
June daily population, blue is the line. We started off with at the beginning of the month was 114. We ended with 109 for Center County. Center County or Tennant County was 52 to 51 roughly. Kind of leveled out there. Our prison monthly reports for Center County unsentenced individual new charges were only 30. With only new charges was males 37, females 4, total 41. Probation and parole only were 5 males and 4 females, total of 9. Probation and parole with new charges were 9 and 3, total of 12. Total population of Center County for unsentenced is 62. Just a snapshot of out of our population of what charges are within our facility from Center County only. Theft is 19, DUI is 6, drug charges is 30, simple assaults are 12, aggravated assaults are 12, corruption of minors are 8, criminal mischief is 17, and homicides are 5. Continuing on with our service report, behavior modification status, tier 0 is 2, tier 2 is 1, and tier 4 is 14 out in the population. Our co-occurring disorder, mental illness, and drug addiction, a year ago, 77 intakes. This past June was a total of 34 out of 81 intake. Is 42% of our intakes were co-occurring disorder. Only 17 were on or have not refilled medication upon intake. Out of the 34 was 27 from center, 12 female, 15 males, and 7 from out of county, 7 females. Suicide watch a year ago was 16. This past June it was 17. 16 was from center, 3 females, 13 males, 1 from out of county, 1 female. Suicide detox a year ago was 4, 3 center, 1 from out of county. This past June was 3. They were both from center, 2 females, 1 male, 0 from out of county. Detox total a year ago was 31, 23 were center, and 8 from out of county. This past June's 24, 11 females, 13 males. Out of the 24, 22 were from center, 2 from out of. But out of the 22 from center was 12 females, 10 males. 2 out of county was 1 female, 1 male. The substance detox by the numbers. Heroin, we had 4, 3 center, 1 out of county. Benzo was 2 center, 1 out of county. Meth was 5 from center. Alcohol were 2 from center. Suboxone was 3 from center, or multiple is 1 heroin benzo center, 2 heroin alcohol from center, 2 benzo alcohol from center, 1 heroin benzo meth from center, and 1 heroin benzo alcohol from center. Nothing new with the FIMAT. We're still putting advertisement out, talking to all the new commitments about Vivitrol. We are working on our MAT and Mounds program. It takes time. It's not something we want to throw words on paper and say, hey, we have a program. We're working with drug and alcohol as well with that, with fundings. Prime care report for inpatient hospital was 1 person for 9 days for gastrointestinal issues. COVID-19, negative, symptomatic testing, negative was 281, recovering is 104, which is an old number. Asymptomatic, we've had negative 2,620 people and recover 125. Total seen by physician or PA a year ago was 85, this past June was 96. Total medical transport to outside physicians was 19 a year ago and 20 this past June. Mental health clinician individuals seen a year ago was 168. This past June was 243. Psychiatrists a year ago was 75. This past June was 42. Mental health patients on psychotropic medication June, a year ago, was 117, with their ADP was 194, with a percentage of 60.3% of our ADP was mental health with psychotropic medications. Past June was 98, our ADP was 154, with a percentage of 63.3%. Daily average patient diagnosed with mental health is a total of 117 out of 154. A year ago, category C was 122, 62.9%. Category D was 27, 13.9%. Past June is 100 for category C at 64.9, and category D is 17 with 11 at 11%. Our mental health stability rating, entire population, starting with stability code A is 22, which is 14%. Stability code B is 21, which is 13%. Stability code C is 100, which is 62% of our population, and stability code D is 17 at 11% of our population, with a total of mental health stability rating by county. Starting with stability code A, blue is Center County, green is Tentative County. Stability code A for Center County is 20 males. Out of county is 2 males. Stability code B is blue Center 16, 13 males, 3 females. Tentative County is 5 males. Stability code C for Center County is a total of 63, 42 males, 21 males or females, and out of county is 37 with 27 males and 10 females. Stability code D is Center County 10 males, and stability code D for out of county is 7, 6 and 2, or 6 and 1. Inmate grievance report for June, total of 34. Non-grievable were 5. Non-grievable found it was 0. Grievable 9. Found it was 1. 0 to the first appeal, 0 to the second appeal. A year ago we had 118, and we were 20 grievances for numerous reasons. We had one that was founded that was reimbursed for returning sentence for wrongful being charged for a haircut. So that was taken care of. He was reimbursed. Central booking numbers for June. This past June was 216, which is up 35 bookings compared to a year ago at 181. 11-7 was 24. 7-3 was 82. 3-11 shift was 110.
Thank you, Board. Board, any questions, comments? Have from the board. Any questions or public comment this time?
So, hi, I wonder if I could just ask a question about statistics I've never asked about before. And this is about who came in on intake and they were on or not refilled medication. I'm just not exactly clear what that means, because the Prison Society has developed this whole interest in opioid medications. It has become important for me to understand when I haven't understood in the past.
And the CAS or facilities.
Medications, yeah. So are you talking about the co-occurring diagnosis?
I'm saying when they come in on intake, and are they on medication when they come in? Is that what that
number?
That number is describing the fact that they're already on medication.
Yes.
Then does that medication continue, or what? So if you could just explain that statistic.
You talk right here. You're talking about what co-occurring. It says only 17 were on or have not refilled medication upon intake.
What does that mean?
Yes. So whenever they come in, we verify their medication. Like it's perfect.
And so what does it mean when it says they were on or have not refilled medication?
So basically, if I come into the facility as an inmate and medical's doing their intake on me, they say, "Are you currently on any medications?" "Yes, I'm taking X, Y, and Z." The medical then tries to confirm that with the pharmacy on record. They call the pharmacy, and the pharmacy says, "No, person hasn't refilled their prescription in 10 days, 20 days, whatever the time may be." So 17 people have said, "Yes, we're taking this medication," but when medical tries to verify through the pharmacy says, "No, that person has not been refilling the medications as prescribed."
I see. And so what happens then to that person?
Our medical starts a process of reviewing what this person says they were on. They see our doctor, they see our mental health clinician here.
If it's verified, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
if it's verified, they'll call and get verbal orders to continue it immediately. If they had a prescription, but they have not been taking it for a while, they'll be placed on a line for our provider to see them to see if it's appropriate, reinitiate.
So for a while, it's, and they
If
have
it's
been-
not current,
If it's not, if it's expired or it's in existence, they just haven't been refilling it. That's what I listen.
yes, we'll call CVS and CVS will say, yes, we have a prescription on file, but they have not filled it for more than 30 days.
Thank you, Jeremy.
My question is, how long does it take from the time you know a person isn't taking their medication and then they are able to get it and take it? What could be the length of time that would take?
At most, it should take 72 hours.
So people who are on very important medication for bipolar disorder could go several days without their medication.
Not if they're taking it in the community, even if they're not taking it in the community, but it's been filled in the last 30 days, then it's our goal to have a pill in their mouth within 12 hours, no longer than 24. If they're not taking it in the community, they'll be tasked to see the provider on the next potential provider line. The reason I give 72 hours is they come in on a Friday,
Right.
then it falls to a Monday.
I'm concerned about the people who are incarcerated on Friday,
So are
not
we.
being able to see anyone until Monday in order to restart their medication. And that's a possibility, is what you're saying.
It's a possibility, but they've not been taking it in the community for a longer period of time. And as the co-occurring diagnosis occurs, many of these individuals, unfortunately, have not been taking their prescribed medications. They've been taking other substances. So depending on those other substances, the detoxification of those substances, initiating the medications immediately without a provider being involved in reviewing all of it could also pose a serious threat to the
I
individual.
understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, public comments? Seeing and hearing none, going to our COVID-19.
Looking at personal in-person programs, nothing has really changed so much where reentry strategies are coming in, Crossroads mental health and drug and alcohol counseling are coming in, prison societies coming in, public defender and private attorneys are coming in, being scheduled. Parent and inside out program has come in. So everything else is on course for inside programs. The virtual meetings that we're looking to bring back in as we in the falls will be the incarcerated youth program. Once they start school back up in the fall, they're becoming in person. Creative writing will be fall semester. Legal literacy will be fall semester. Entrepreneurship will be fall semester. An inside out program with Penn State will be fall semester. And probably here in the next, looking at August, is bringing in any AA and Bible studies and so forth. Status quo as we are now. Working with those individuals, but also it's up to them if they want to come into. So if they don't, we still do things virtual. Phone calls still we're doing with DRS offices, videos, access to church. In progress of adding this leadership program with centerpieces in August. Ridgeline's language art story program for women's inmates. We're looking at the fall, probably September sometime, of implementing them there. Our vaccine, the 14th COVID-19 vaccine in Brewster Clinic was June 27th. Total of 19 vaccines given. Moderna, first dosage was 5, second dosage was 1, booster was 2. Pfizer, first dose was 5, second dose was 5, and booster was 1. The 15th vaccine booster clinic will be held during the week of July 24th. All received an incentive of $25 for their first vaccination.
Questions from the prison board?
just had a question about the group meetings. I noticed that you have AA. Do you have NA ever here?
Yeah, AA and NA is the same, yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, we hold that, yeah, that's, but we just have to make sure they're willing to come in. If they're not
I
willing,
understand. With the same issue is happening at the state facility. Like to initiate those groups, but it's a problem with getting here. So I understand.
We appreciate the low case count that we have, not only. Thank you for the COVID-19 update. We'll go.
I come to the board to ask to approve 2 new policies. We'll start off with the 202 returning citizens voting rights and procedures. Just to go through just the real basis of it, and I can ask any questions after that. I have the policy the board have received this to. The Pennsylvania Department of State, PA-DOS, directives have illustrated that there are certain returning citizens, offenders, and pretrial detainees who have the right to vote in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Center County Correctional Facility is committed to ensuring all eligible returning citizens shall have the opportunity to be informed of their eligibility to vote, complete a voter registration application if eligible, and the ability to cast their vote if eligible. One thing we're doing starting off is notification procedures for voters' rights. All returning citizens will be notified of their rights to vote in the process. The Director of Treatment or designee will maintain the most up-to-date versions and have posted in all housing units and on the electronic tablets. The Pennsylvania Department of State brochure on voting rights of convicted felons, convicted misdemeanors, and pretrial detainees. The Center County Correctional Voting Guide pamphlet as well will be in housing in all the units. Approximately 45 days prior to any election, the Director of Treatment or designee will place the upcoming election information in the most up-to-date version of the voting rights and our pamphlet, and with a sign-up sheet for interested returning citizens in each of the housing units. Voting registration, if the returning citizens already are registered to vote, they will not have to re-register to vote, provided they have voted at least one time during the last 2 general elections. Eligible returning citizens will complete their printed registration application at the correctional facility. Director of Treatment or designee will schedule with a third-party election voter, volunteer or the counselors to assist all interested and eligible returning citizens with their registration application. Voter registration application shall be available in English, Spanish, simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, and Vietnamese. Got that from the website. We'll be doing the absent ballot voting process. Eligible returning citizens will be provided a free and confidential access to complete the mail-in or absent ballot to vote. The Director of Treatment or designee will have each eligible returning citizen complete the mail-in or absent ballot in a room with privacy. Once completed, returning citizen will enclose the absentee ballot in the envelope marked official absentee ballot and then place it in the second envelope. Seal the envelope, and the Center County returning citizen will place their ballot into the locked election drop box located in the inmate services hallway, which is monitored by a camera. The ballot in the locked election drop box will be picked up by a sworn-in election worker. So the process is that we'll keep everything posted in the housing unit until the election, 45 days prior to the election. And then anything new from the state, the election information will be published at 45 days. Announcements will be made at that point with a sign-up sheet. If anybody's interested, that'll be up for a week. They can sign up. Once they're signed up, they're both be brought up to a room, which is video that yourself, Mr. Lipscomb, and Nancy, I think Nancy is on that, will be provided. They will show the video. Any questions, they'll be there to answer the questions. I think Nancy's willing still to come up to talk with them as well. And then we'll go from that point of filling out a registration or absentee ballot form. And then we'll be directly sending it right down to the election office. Instead of going through the mail, we'll talk with Beth. She'll take that and send everything right back to us. And then we'll bring up the individuals and put them in a room by themselves to be able to vote. If they need assistance, we'll have the third-party election volunteer come in, or a counselor or Director Heidel help them if they need filled out. And then we will be purchasing a ballot box with a lock on there that they can come in when they have to come pick up the ballots, and they'd be able to go in there and drop them off as if they were on the community dropping off at the drop box. So make them feel more involved in the voting, so forth. So that's how we'll work with our policies from there. If he never registers, we'll take care of that. Any out of county, we're still we're working with that as well. Beth is actually, if we tell if they're from Huntington, if they're from Clearfield, if they're from Schuylkill, we'll still fill it out, and actually Beth will take the application and make sure it gets to that county at a faster rate than us sending it through the mail. And then when it gets dropped back to her, she'll drop it back to us. So they'll have the opportunity as well.
Thank you very much. We're constantly seeing during elections, leading up to elections, and the thought was to have a policy that would really modify a lot of what we already do. The thought about the drop box is a much smaller one than the ones that we have out in the communities. It would be a much smaller one. Again, it would be monitored by a camera, essentially only be used during the lead up to election. And individuals that would be picking it up would be the folks who are also doing the pickups of the ones that have to come in and out. But this just, again, codifies a lot of what you're doing, and we'll have a policy that outside entities, when they come in, want to help out with encouraging incarcerated individuals to vote, they can utilize this and know the procedures that are occurring.
Yeah, looking at other counties trying to reach out, what they have is very slim that way. And if it is, it's a one-page policy that does, and they refer everything back to the PA-DOS, which doesn't give incarcerated individuals the access to get on that website. So we try to make sure that we're going to be publicizing it enough in the housing units year-round, but 45 days, we figure that's a good threshold that we can make sure that they know what's going on, if they're interested, and they take care of the application.
We'll take questions, feedback.
Requirement to register. That's just a function.
Yes, yeah, that came right from the website. Yeah.
Technically marked it. All the fun we've had recently, and they would just be marked as active.
So are they actually trucking from the
No,
rolls?
purge. No, purge doesn't happen.
That's a whole different thing,
Much
isn't it?
later, yeah. They're just marked as there. Any other questions or comments on this order? I did want to mention, there's an organization called Penn Franchise that is working on getting these policies in place across the state. They were not able to be here today. I would suggest two paths. We can approve it, forward it to them, or share what we can with them. I know we're sensitive to policies. If they have feedback or suggested changes, we could talk about it at another meeting. Or if they'd like to come, they weren't able to make it today, they could potentially come in August. I think we'd like to get the policy done by August. We could also just take a month to continue to review it and consider it at that time. So I think either way is fine with us and them, but I don't think there's any preference from the board. Sure, that's an option. Yeah, that would be one of the options. Comfortable with that? Table for a month.
I don't have an opinion one way or the other. It does seem pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
They might have, so I'm good either way.
Okay. I'd be a fighter proof. Okay. Sure. All right. Why don't we do that? If they have comments, we'll come back. Okay. Motion has been made to approve the policy. Any final discussion on the policy? Questions, public comment? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Okay. Thank you, board, for that. Team as well. We really appreciate that. PennDOT ID program.
Yes, so this has been one of these long travels down the road with working with PennDOT. and it's still not where we like it to be, but it's the best program out there right now that we can get on board with and get our returning citizens activated with their new IDs, duplicate IDs, or if they never had an ID, that we can go through the application process and get them what they need. So, I mean, it's a start. I'm hoping that we can build from this with PennDOT. But it is a collaboration initiative with PennDOT and Center County Correctional Facility to develop a program that will provide Center County returning citizens with a valid Pennsylvania ID, driver's license, or photo camera card prior to their release from the correctional facility. Returning citizens will be required to complete an authorized for release of information for PennDOT to assist with processing their request for ID, driver's license, or photo card. From the start to receive the ID and driver's license photo card will take approximately 2 weeks. The ID, driver's license, and photo card will be sent to CCF reentry specialists. Once received, the returning citizen will be notified that the ID, driver's license, or photo card has been received and placed in their personal property. We will be invoiced monthly. Pretty much what's happening, what we're going to do is we're going to put sign-ups. We're going to advertise as well in all the housing units. Anybody that's interested in doing duplication, or if they never had one as a new applicant, they sign up for it. Our reentry specialists fill it. We'll bring them up to the office, fill out the forms. We have to fill out the authorization forms, so we were able to give PennDOT their Social Security, their date of birth, and so forth. So once that's taken care of, we have one individual that's through PennDOT. She's a reentry representative. So she will email the information down there with all the scanned in authorization paperwork. And once they do that, they'll run them through the system, run through Social Security. And if they ever had an ID, it'll come back on an Excel sheet with their name, their ID number that recognizes these individuals for their driver's license or ID. If they never came back, they'll say they're eligible for X, Y, and Z. The next section is they bring the individual back up, tell them you're eligible for your driver's license as a duplicate. And they'll fill the application out, they'll send it in, and then they'll be able to process that. And then usually within 5 days, we were saying 2 weeks, but they say it's pretty quick turnaround. Once she gets that email, they can process it, then they send it to mail, certified mail. So it's pretty simple in that way. It's just there's some I think there's going to be some hiccups as we start working through this, but I'm going to say positive, thinking it won't, but there may be, but we'll see from there. But I know there's a few other counties that jumped on this program as well. It's been working so far. They have some grief with some things, so we kind of tweaked it with the department, the PennDOT, and try to make it more seamless. Instead of, they were doing 4 or 5 emails back and forth to one person, and we're like, no, it's got to be a direct one email to you back to us, and then we send back, and then they payment take care of it. So they're willing to do downsizing. That's why a lot of people, I think Franklin County, they're out 3 to 4 weeks till they get theirs, just because how they have their the contract with them. We actually upped ours. It must be in a short amount of time, and she agreed that they can do that. So we'll be actually probably sending down to the commissioners for the contract in the next week or so. We're still waiting for the state to send the contract back to us for the MOU.
Thank you, Gordon. We all know that getting that ID card, driver's license, really opens a lot of doors to folks once they re-enter what this policy is about. But if we have any questions or comments, President Board will clarification.
I just have a quick question. It sounded from your comments as if this is a program that is, I'm looking at the second bullet point about they'll be required to complete. But if I'm interpreting that in the context of your comments, it's anyone who would like to participate.
Yes, anybody.
Okay.
An optional program from the incarcerated person standpoint.
Yes, meaning if I'm here, my parole isn't held up because I didn't want to fill my ID card.
No. This is all whoever that wants to renew, or they say we had one. We actually his license was overdue, and he was needed a job. So we actually worked. It was one of those that we called PennDOT while we were working through this policy. Called them, and they're going to invoice us, of course, but we took care of everything. We don't have an MOU with them, but we need this job. We're trying to give him a job and everything else, but he needs his ID. So that's how it works a lot of times. Individuals that find out that they're getting a work release, but the employer needs an ID and they don't have one, or it's expired. So that's where we can try to make this a faster process.
Great, Chris, I want to thank you for working this the expedited process. Quickly as 3 to 4 weeks. Potentially be too long. And without a photo ID, actually get much done.
Any other comments from the prison board? Questions? One final one. When we get billed or invoiced monthly, I would assume the commissary fund will take care of this. Correct. Any public comment?
Thank you for doing this. This is a concern that we as the Prison Society have had on our list for a very long time. So we'll check it off. I'm very happy to be doing that.
Well, I gave the task to the reentry specialist, Bill, so she took it and took her stride. And because I told her we've been working on it long enough, and reentry's been talking about it as well. And she came to me and I said, "You have the reins. Go ahead." I said, "Because I got other things going right now," and she went ahead and took it. Still got to work with her on her policy because she gave me a policy and I said, "This is not a policy. Got to work on that one." She's good. No, she actually did all the legwork, reaching out to other people and getting the information, working with PennDOT, the reentry special or reentry representative, with several emails back and forth, just making sure that we're what we're going to get from them. So,
Any amendments? Please pass on to Vanessa. Thank you. We would entertain a motion to approve policy 219.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Anything from Zoom, just to double check.
Commissioner Pipe, Mark Fraley here. Congratulations to reentry specialist Billet on just getting this done. And she's awesome, by the way. I work with her every week and email her several times. She's awesome. Just wondering how they're going to get the picture taken, and is there a guesstimate as to how much it's going to cost per person?
I don't have the fee goes off of yes.
It's PennDOT's regular photo ID fee, and then they have a thing in there I saw in the MOU that talked about the consumer price index. So I don't know how the state determines that at their level each year, but it's tied to the CPI, I believe. So it'll be whatever the state tells us it is to license is what the fee is to renew your license. Essentially, it stays the same.
Yeah, and then the photo will be brought back. If they have one on file, they're just make a duplicate of that. That picture. If they need to make a new photo, what we'll do is we'll do a photo, especially if it's for work release. If it's for work release, we'll take them, we'll schedule and take them over and get their photo. They're being released and they don't have work release eligibility, but we have a photo card that they're ready to do it. We have access to take them over to the photo center to be able to have that taken care of. There's numerous avenues for us to be able to have transportation. We have our counselors, we have center fees, and some other avenues we have that we can accommodate that.
Thank you. We'd be happy to provide transportation as well. That's awesome. This is good.
So, quick question. So the photo center over there at Pleasant Gap knows that this is happening?
I don't know if they know specifically, but if an individual shows up with the proper cards that PennDOT has provided us, it's just like you or I walking in to get a photo.
So with the photo, how that works is what they would do, they would get a card. They would get a photo card and they also get a card. And what they do, they will scan that card knowing that it will bill back to the Center County Correctional Building. However, if they do not get it done within 10 days after their release, they got to pay for it. And that's how the state has it. They're not going to say the guy's going to be out and then 45 days later, 30 days later, now they want to go do this. You know, our instructions to them, if they have to go get a photo done, if you need to do this now, if you have transportation, if not, we will get you transportation to get this taken care of, as long as it's during their work hours. And if they do not want to and say they're going to take care of it, and it's after 10 days, the state will require them to pay for it.
That's very clear.
Yeah.
We'll emphasize the 10 days, right?
It's on the card. It'll be on their card that they have to scan in there, and they'll be told that. So yes. And that's why we'll tell them, do you have transportation? If it's working hours, if you have transportation today, we can take you over now and take care of it.
I think we're hoping for a lot of renewals or duplicates because they said they'll use a photo up to 10 years old. So even if the individual had a photo that's 7 or 8 years old, PennDOT is willing to pull that photo and issue the new ID with that rather than starting from scratch. And I think that might be born somewhat of the pandemic. I think they've been doing that for a lot of us with that 1 years old. So they went all the way to 10 years back, which I think will hopefully give us a really good window. It'll only probably be completely new IDs that, knock on wood, need to go get a photo card.
Some of us probably want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? We do a motion.
Yes, just very quickly from Centerpiece. Thank you very much. We had the pleasure of having Vanessa into an Essentials of Reentry, which is a subcommittee of the Reentry Coalition. And this has been a major issue. So we had the opportunity to speak with her about that. I echo what Mark said. Vanessa is great. And this will go a long way towards helping. So thank you for working on this and getting it accomplished.
What a good note to end on. Thank you, Kathy. All those in favor of approving this policy, do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Okay. Thank you all once again for that. Appreciate it. We will just note the fact, if you wanted to just quickly on the purchase of if you wanted to add anything, but at the Commissioners Board meeting, we vehicle for the facility, 14-year-old vehicle, so we just want to let the prison board be made aware of that, and should be a little bit of a delay potentially in the vehicle, but it's going to be caged for safe transport of individuals. Be here soon enough. So just wanted to let everybody know that had happened. Into monthly reports, Carrie may have departed us already. I believe. I don't know if she's still there, but it sounded like she did not have anything to report. We will go to the Prison Society. Janet, is there anything from?
Yes, thank you. I first wanted to introduce David Miller. David's been doing a lot of the visiting on behalf of the Prison Society, and thank you for coming. Do you want to say something?
Oh, yes, I do. I've been working closely with a couple of employees here, and I wanted to offer my kudos, thanks for their timely, comprehensive, helpful responses. Those two employees would be Melanie Gordon and Danelle Fox, counselor. I'm most appreciative.
Appreciate your kindness on that. Thank you, Melanie.
And then Connie, you had something about Helping Hands?
Yes, I just wanted to announce that the Prison Society has an opportunity to write articles for the TBT under the Helping Hands column, and on July 21st, there'll be an article about why teach parenting classes at the Center County Correctional Facility. So watch for it.
So, and then I sent some material to Commissioner Pike, who I think shared it with members of the board, but I also have a few, I'm not sure if I have enough, hard copies of an article. Oops, here's some more. Now I have enough. An article in the Philadelphia Inquirer. And I wanted to talk about it just briefly because it's very timely and I know some people got it as an attachment, but I'm thinking that the primary people did not get it. So if you could skip taking a hard copy so that some of the people at the end of the row here can get copies. I'm really sorry for actually passing out a Philadelphia Inquirer article because the article is actually reporting on a 40-page study. And what you really want to read is the 40-page study, not the Philadelphia Inquirer spin on that study. But the study is 40 pages long, and I was not about to spend all that money and kill all those trees. So the study was done by the Pennsylvania Institutional Law Project, and it concludes that by providing full access to medical opioid treatment, that jails and prisons can be a critical part of the solution in addressing this epidemic that has impacted communities all across Pennsylvania and the country. I'm also including not only a link to the Pennsylvania Institutional Law Project study, there's a link at the very end of the fourth page of what you've been given, but I'm also including a link to a study by the National Sheriff's Association, which has come to very similar conclusions about the need for medically assisted treatment in our jails, what they call agonist medical treatment. I'm learning a lot about what these terms mean. And I've also included a link to the Bureau of Justice Assistance report, which I actually shared earlier, and which Deputy Warden Irwin carries around with him. So it seems to be an important document about legal considerations with regard to providing this kind of medical treatment. So one of the things that I've learned and in the Prison Society, and well, first of all, let me thank Connie for sort of taking the lead on saying that we need to become more involved in, as so many people who are in jail are associated with drug and alcohol problems, that we and the Prison Society need to educate ourselves and work with you in a very proactive way to move forward at this. And of course, the detox issue that took place this spring was the catalyst for that, but we should have been doing it anyway, right? I learned that medical treatment can occur at the front end when a person enters the jail. It can occur at the exit stage when the person is leaving the jail, but it turns out that medical researchers are recommending that it occur continuously. All the way through, just as you would treat a chronic condition like diabetes or something like that. Both medical personnel and several courts, because there's always that legal side, have acknowledged that opioid use disorders and withdrawal from opioids are actually serious medical needs. The fact is that opioid withdrawal is not just painful, but medically dangerous. However, many people persist in the belief that opioid withdrawal is just natural and a punishment for a societal misdeed. And so what this is all about from the Prison Society point of view is rethinking our approach to people who are addicted as a condition that should be treated rather than something that should be punished. And it turns out that a wealth of medical information supports that conclusion. So back to the study by the Pennsylvania Institutional Law Project. They looked at all 62 jails in the Commonwealth for their provision of medical care. Only 3 of the 62 provide this so-called continuous treatment. And so they're at the top tier. At the second tier are 16 jails who provide some kind of exit medical treatment, such as the provision of Vivitrol. So Center County is in that second tier, which I think is worth noting and acknowledging. And if you actually look at the central Pennsylvania region, the only other jails in the region that provide this kind of exit treatment in any way are Lycoming County and Mifflin County. And so what that means is that Center County plays a role in serving as a role model for the other jails that are around us, which is a role that we have historically already played. And so this is just another place where Center County Correctional Facility can sort of take the lead. And just for those of us who are not very medical, the whole Vivitrol, as many of you know, is because when you've been sober for a long time and then you go back out into the community, your tolerance is lower and you're more at risk for an overdose. And so kind of coming up with some kind of medication that reduces those cravings is going to literally keep you alive. And that's why this is so important. We in the Prison Society have not had a lot of time to process this report because it literally came out about 2 weeks ago. But despite the fact that I'm just learning and I'm still not sure that I have all the facts, I wanted to share a couple of recommendations from the report that I think are important for us here. The first one is that while moving towards this continuous treatment is a good goal, it's involved and complicated, and even the warden has said, my God, we're working on this, but we can't implement it tomorrow. But I do think that looking at the front end, at what happens when people are coming into detox, to be an important area that we should proceed forward with more hastily than perhaps other areas. So that's the first recommendation. The second one has to do with prime care, and I am delighted to see Mr. Weber here, or Dr. Weber, I'm not really sure.
Mr., I don't hear that very often. So I'm glad this is being recorded.
Thank you so much for coming, because 34 out of the 62 jails in Pennsylvania are contract out with prime care, and so prime care has a role to play in coming up with medical policies that would make a difference. The actual local administrators here are limited in their ability to have an impact because we contract with prime care and sort of hand over that responsibility to you. So I invite the prison board and the county commissioners in particular to go and talk to these other 33 county commissioners so that you all can come up with the kind of policies in collaboration with prime care that we need to make this happen. And then the third recommendation, to maximize the impact on stemming the tide of the overdose epidemic requires funding. Jails are on the front line. This is a quote from the study. Jails are on the front lines of the overdose epidemic. Therefore, the funds available from the opioid litigation settlements should logically be directed toward our jails. And this is a recommendation not only of the study, but also of the state attorney general's office. And so if the problem is that doing this costs money, then we have money, or should, I hope, have money from the opioid settlement that should logically be used for this purpose. Jails were never designed to provide medical care. That should be happening somewhere else, but by default, that's what we do because that's the system that we've been handed. So I'm going to stop there. I apologize for taking so long.
Yeah, please. I just wanted, before I could just say, Janet, thank you. We sent this out, like you said, to members of the prison board. I don't know if many of us got a chance to look at the report, but I think many of us were able to peruse the prior article, and we will certainly keep this on the front burner. You're right about the money. By the end of September, we're hoping to receive that first annual payment. We would mention that it is front-loaded, so we're going to get about half of about 1.8 million first 3 years, and then it tapers off. But still, there hopefully are going to be other settlements that will be able to come in those years. But it's at least something that could start with. So we're developing the conversation, and we have directed our drug and alcohol office to look at options that would be best suited to invest in. And so they're coming back with a lot of what other counties are looking at doing, what works best. So we're still in development of that. We're going to get the money by the end of September, so we have some time to plan for this. So, but we appreciate you putting this on our radar screen.
Yeah, so we're a little different than a lot of other counties. Monday, I was just down at CCAT with the Title 37 Revision Committee, and when we got talking about the MAT and Mountain programs, and I said about we're working with our drug and alcohol with their block grants and with any open money that's coming back forth with Kathy Arbogast. So of course we're working our fundings off of drug and alcohol instead of us as a jail going out for the grant through the state. It's more streamlined, and CCAT, Brenda, she even said, she goes, that's the best option, which a lot of counties would do that, would work through their drug and alcohol with this whole program, building that program. So I think, we're a little bit, with our collaboration here in Center County, are tight-knit, I want to call it. We are pretty tight-knit with our other departments. And I think it's a great relationship. So I think in the future, we're going to have the funds there, and it will be implemented. But as I mentioned to you before, this is not an easy throwing words on a policy and say, here you go, approve it. There's a lot of details that we got to work out with, start with here, how we work things inside here, of course, with drug and alcohol, of course, with crime care. So there's a lot of facets that we got to bring together. But we got to get our setup of what we want to do and how we want to run it, and how drug and alcohol wants to pay for it and so forth, and how they want to be involved. So we have that soft handoff to the community. That's the most important thing that I worry about the most. Coming in the door, we'll take care of that, but it's that soft handoff, make sure that they're meeting somebody that's in the community already, once they're incarcerated, they're meeting with that counselor inside here. They have that comfort zone that they can, once they get transitioned to the community, soft handoff to them, and they can continue their MAT or MOUNT program. That's what we're working on. So that's what we're trying to make sure that if there's an uptick of clients that need that service, we got to make sure the providers in the community can handle it. And so we might not have to use Crossroads as much. We might have to use Oasis, or there might be another person we might have to use. So we know that. So that's what we're working out now. As I mentioned, we're getting our data all together. We're meeting, and then probably in August we'll be meeting, talking together with Kathy Arbogast and her committee with everything. So I mean, that's why I say this is not an easy throw together. Try to take what Allegheny does, what Delaware County does, and say, okay, we're going to do it here at Center, because they are completely different. We're two different types of jails there. So we are working on it, and we've been working on it for a while. It's just one of the things. There's a lot of other jails that are trying to work on it, but as I mentioned before, there's a lot of jails, like both these policies that we approved today will be sent out to about 20 wardens, because when I've reached out to them about, do they have anything, how they do process, they said, well, when you get your policy, can you send it out to me so we can kind of mimic it? We'll probably just like that with our MAT and MOUNT policy already. When we get it developed, there's going to be 20-some counties asking, hey, can we look at it? And I don't mind doing that. That's fine. But, of course, we're going to do our procedures as our niche.
I think the overall tone is, we agree and it's already in progress. If we could add that, we have collaborated both with the state MAT coordinator and multiple counties to look at their process, and it's been in the works for a short amount of time, but we do hope to enter what you were calling tier 1 as promptly as is reasonable. I don't like to do anything unless the right way. So your comments are ones that we think echo the majority of those sentiments and already have that moving.
I can add to that, as Deputy Gordon said, that starting in August, there's going to be monthly meetings, which I'll be attending. In regards to this the program, and as the warden said, we've got policies from other county jails. We're ahead of some of them already on what we do, as you've already said. So we're anxious for this monthly meeting to start taking place for the jails. Prime care several times on the issues. We already have that ball rolling. It's not a quick process.
It's good to have you describing the rolling of that ball in this forum, because if what you're doing isn't known to the larger community, you're not going to have that soft handout, right? So, I mean, we feel deeply the need to share with people for whom jail isn't even, they don't even think about what goes on here. They need to start thinking about what goes on here, because the people who are in here are going to go out to the community. We need to take care of them. So you know that, but we want everybody else to know that too. So thank you for sharing.
I just want to put in my request for training. I know that some people are trained better than others to deal with identifying drug users. And I would hope that not only the staff here, but the staff of Prime Care have an opportunity to be trained in identifying the needs of your clients here. Very important.
I may just very briefly on that for the community's perspective. This is a relatively new concept in incarceration. It is quickly becoming, the standard of care, the gold standard of care, if you will. For your benefit, in addition to the 34 counties we have in PA, we operate in 4 other states. One of those is Maryland, which has legislated that by 2023, every county facility has a MAT program. They rolled it out in different tiers. We had 2 of the facilities down there that started in 2019. So we've been operating these programs in correctional facilities for the last 3 years. We make it a requirement of all of our providers, and by provider I mean someone who has prescriptive authority, that they not only have their DEA certificate, but they also get their X waiver, which is what entitles them to have the ability to prescribe buprenorphine opioid addicted, use disorder, excuse me. So it takes a lot of coordination to administer this. Up until 5 years ago, keeping these substances out of your facilities was a foremost, concern. Now, how do you safely administer them? And I can tell you, to do it, it's about a 10-minute process to administer Suboxone, so as to do it safely and avoid the potentials for diversion. And we don't look at diversion as necessarily meaning that the individual themselves is trying to do something wrong. We have concerns about their safety on the blocks. We've had individuals who were threatened that if you don't try and divert and bring this back to us so that we can use it for improper purposes, you're at risk. So that's a long way of saying we're prepared to implement it, but it's very difficult and it takes a lot of coordination. And I know with our working group, we'll be able to do it as seamlessly as possible, but it takes a lot of manpower, it takes a lot of coordination.
Thank you for again.
Our daughter was on Suboxone for not an easy thing. Like the constipation problem. So I think it was good while she was on it, but it has ups and downs as well. So it's ongoing care.
And it is not as simple as administering a medication, because like all medications, it has side effects. There's a very, very critical component of it, which is the counseling. And we use the TCU screening method to identify who qualifies for substance use disorder, and it's it's the gold standard of how you go about identifying this. We've gotten permission from TCU so that we can put it in our training materials and utilize it as part of our intake process. But you have to get that patient buy-in, and I've heard reference to Vivitrol a lot, and the manufacturer of Vivitrol did a very good job of promoting it and getting it out in the community. It not only deals with opioid disorder, but it'll also deal with alcoholism. And the number of patients that we encounter when we educate them to that, they won't take the Vivitrol. A lot of them recognize heroin's going to kill me someday, so I need to stop that. But I still want, and these are quotes, I still want to be able to get my drink on. So I won't do the Vivitrol. So it's epidemic. Got that way because it's difficult, but we have in place best practices to try and address it for those willing to take that step.
Thank you again for the report. Appreciate it. Turn it over to Kathy for a centerpiece report. Thank you, Kathy, for your patience. Morning.
No, it's been a great conversation. Thank you. All right, I'll try to be brief. First of all, I want to thank you for the hybrid meeting. It is wonderful to be able to attend via Zoom and partake in these when you either can't get in, or I'd planned to get in, but I was just exposed to COVID, so I thought better to stay away. Right now, Centerpiece has 3 former trainees that are currently employed with us, 1 in a 3-month position, 2 are in permanent positions. So we're very happy to be able to work with them on that level as well. The reentry support group that meets every Wednesday at Out of the Cold is thriving, and it reinforces the need for mental health counseling, because it's just astounding how these individuals will open up and talk about trauma, their current feelings, how hard it is to stay clean when they can go anywhere and get just about anything. It's very eye-opening and sobering. We're happy to supply rides. We've been getting a decent number of calls from CCCF with individuals who are being released. We have transported individuals around, and we're very happy to continue doing that. We did have the pleasure of working with Warden on a donation to CCCF for a project that they have going on. Most exciting, the guys are out of Orange. They walked in the other day with huge smiles on their face in their lime green t-shirts and pants that they were wearing from the commissary. I have a huge box here of pants, shorts that we have ordered for them that we'll be taking in, and Warden, I'll get in touch with you to see how I can get these to you. But they are out of orange, and they had a bounce in their step when they walked in. They were so thrilled. So thank you very much for working with us on that. It is, you would not believe how happy the guys were. Thank you.
Yeah, I talked with them when they came back yesterday at noon time. I talked with them, and they kind of like it a little bit. They feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more part of the community. So
Yeah, it's wonderful. It does a tremendous amount for their spirit and for their attitude. So thank you.
Happy to do that, Kathy. Thank you for the suggestion. We appreciate
Sure thing.
Anything else from Centerpiece, Kathy?
No, just that we're really, really looking forward to the Reentry Leadership Center County class that we're going to do. It'll kick off in August. And a shout out to Leadership Center County and Zach for working with us on that. I'm excited about that class.
Super. Well, thank you. We hope you feel better and recover quickly, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. With that, we'll see if there's any other announcements we need.
no, just going to the exec session.
And would it be for security matters, personnel matters?
It would be for litigation.
Litigation, okay, legal matters. We will look for a motion to go into executive session. Second. Moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are in executive session. Thank you all very much again.